Hey everyone, Erin here. It is a gorgeous day, and as you can see, I have been starting to cut back the garden. I thought I'd talk about it a little bit because this is certainly a controversial thing to do in spring. So, of course, one of the reasons to leave your garden standing over fall or in fall, so that's up over winter, is to provide some habitat for overwintering insects. And that's one of many reasons. As far as I'm concerned, I like looking at something. Also, the material that you're cutting back in spring is light. The stuff you're cutting back in fall is heavy, so it's a lot less physical material to be moving around. Anyway, I'm out here cutting back things, and the reason I'm doing what I'm doing right now is because, oh my God. So I think you'll notice that I am not cutting indiscriminately. Not everything is getting cut back right now. And there's several reasons for that, but probably the biggest of them is this idea of protecting overwintering insects. So I am following a method that the Lurie Garden in Chicago uses, which is to cut back the things that really need to be cut back early. And the biggest one of those in my garden and in that garden are things are flying into my mouth. The biggest one of those is ornamental grasses. Because when ornamental grasses start putting up new growth, you can't cut them back anymore because you will cut off that growth and it won't come back out again. You'll be scalping the new growth. So it is important to get on top of ornamental grasses early on in spring. So I want to cut those things back. But I am leaving some things standing. So I'm leaving things like allium standing and echinacea, and actually most of the perennials that either have kind of a big nest of stems at the bottom or hollow stems, because those are more likely to be overwintering insects in them. And I will come back later and take care of those, and I might be able to just break those off. But for now, I'm mostly focusing on ornamental grasses and also even some like unwanted brush and stuff like that. So one of the things that you saw me working on there was I was also cutting back all of the Carex that I have sort of mass planted. So that's Carex Blue Zinger and then Carex Pennsylvanica. Those can be kind of evergreen, and I have not cut those back for the last, I think, 2 years, certainly last year. And they were looking pretty scrubby. We had a more trying winter this year than we have the past couple of years. So they were really looking bad now. So I cut those back all the way. I'm also cutting back like taller ornamental grasses as well, which I will have to clean up. But if you notice when I was going through, especially like the Hackle-and-Cloa, I cut it off in stages because we're using a chop and drop method here. Everything you saw me cutting back there is not getting removed. It's just going to stay where it is. Now, I am going to bring in some compost this year and do sort of mulch the whole garden in compost. So in places where there's a big, thick mat of that material, I probably will maybe move some of it and put compost down, or I'll put the compost right over the top of it. It'll figure itself out. It just might be difficult to sort of see the crowns of plants amongst all that. But my intention is to basically chop and drop, let this stuff lay. It's an excellent mulch for your soil. One of the reasons why I'm changing up a little bit how I mulch things and how I'm taking care of things now is because I have a problem with Asian jumping worms here. And they don't know a lot about them yet. I've talked about this a lot, by the way. They don't know a lot about them yet. They're still kind of trying to figure out what they like and what they don't like. And of course, we want to give them what they don't like because we're trying to not make it a hospitable place for them. But one of the things they found is that certain types of mulch seem to be less attractive to them. So the thing that they want to eat the most is leaves. And of course, I've been leaving leaves for ages. This fall, I actually picked more out of beds than I have in the past. And while I'm not going crazy with like scorched earth, scraping out every single leaf that's around, I didn't leave big piles of them laying around because that is just food for these jumping worms. What is apparently not of interest to them is plant material cut off of plants, so grasses cut back, and pine straw. So those are the two things that I'm going to be mulching with primarily this year. As for the compost, probably something they like more than don't like, but I really need it. So I'm not going to stop feeding my soil just because they might like it. So you can use a lawnmower for this, and a lot of people do, and that works great. My ground is so undulating that I think I would just end up scalping more plants and getting a lawnmower stuck. So I am using a battery operated, that's key for me, brush cutter. So I bought we have a lot of gas powered stuff. I don't like using those. They're very loud, and I have a very hard time starting things with pull cords. So I like something where I could just pull a trigger and it's on. So for me, even though they tend to be quite heavy, battery operated stuff is great. And so I bought this one, and I bought the one that I bought has multiple, it's a multi-function thing. So it's got this brush cutter head. You can put a string trimmer on it. You can put all kinds of stuff on it. I just actually bought the brush cutter for now. We'll probably get the string trimmer at some point. And so far it's been working really good. It's got a really nice sharp blade on the bottom of it. I think it seems to stop when it meets a lot of resistance. And I probably scalped a couple of plants trying to cut them close. We'll see how those grow. I might have killed a few things in there. But you can see I haven't done these gardens yet over here. So I'm just going to be going through here. This is just Champia Gold Tau. All of these grasses I'm going to try to cut into a few pieces so that what lays on the ground will break down a little quicker. And just kind of clean this area up. Same thing over here. I will leave things like these alliums here standing. Some of these other things like these salvia stems, I don't think this is providing much in the way of habitat, so I'll cut those things back, but I'll definitely leave the alliums standing. I'm not sure there's even anything else in this garden that I would leave standing. So those things will get cut back, and then I will come back and cut probably as I'm working in gardens, just do manual cutbacks of things like these alliums, or like I said, just break the stems off. So some of the stuff that I was cutting down closer to the house, I don't really do a chop and drop on that. I pretty much do just cut it off at the base so that I can collect it later, because I do clean up the beds that are closer to the house a little bit more than I clean the beds that are farther than the house, just because they are seen in more detail more often, if that makes sense. Also, a lot of times there are other plants near them that I want to make sure not to accidentally cut down. Like I accidentally got a branch off of one of the trees behind me because I did not wait for the cutter to stop spinning before I turned. So there it's just easier, instead of waving it around the air, to just cut at the base and clean it up later. Anyway, I have not finished everything. I've not done the Hackler at the end of the road, and I've decided not to do that because it has gotten so windy, as you can see with the camera shaking here. It has gotten so windy that I think if I cut that down, it's just going to blow everywhere, which will not be a chop and drop at all. It'll just be a chop and blow and make a big mess. So I'm going to wait for another day for that. And actually, I get a little nervous working in the yard when it's this windy because stuff falls out of trees all the time here. I think most of the dangerous trees have been taken down, but there are branches that fall down when it gets windy like this. So I do get a little nervous being out in the yard sometimes. Anyway, that is the start of my spring cleanup. It's a very gentle spring. I mean, nothing about that machine sounds gentle, but it is a very gentle spring cleanup. Just doing the things that I need to do as I need to do them, rather than one full massacre, basically. And I'm pretty happy with this method. I feel like for me, this is a good middle of the road method to protect the habitat that I want to protect for some animals, but get the things out that I can. And honestly, there's a big benefit to me to chip things away when I have time, because we all know that everything needs to happen at once. So if I can do what I need to do in little bits and pieces, that at least makes it not one big giant project all at one time. Okay, that's it for now. Have a great day in your garden. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.